Haiti borders with the Dominican.
Her name is Serena Buffalino. They call her Mrs. B, and her class always begins with a pledge.
Something local, something global. Haiti.
They're words that carry
Yes.
weight here. Helping yourself means helping others, giving back, here and a world away in Haiti.
And nobody's helping them, except for people like us.
It was through her the class learned of Haiti, of the nearly 1 million orphans, many with no school, no support, no Mrs. B in their lives.
They could not wrap their head around that.
Mrs. B's students are among Toronto's most at risk. Their challenges vary from emotional and behavioral difficulties to learning disabilities. Their trauma so severe they can't function in a regular school setting, and we aren't allowed to show most of their classmates.
For most of the kids, most of society has turned them away. And in this classroom, they're accepted. They're accepted no matter what for who they are.
Take Yolanda. She came here last year so burdened and withdrawn, she would often fall silent, sometimes for days on end. It was, she says, Mrs. B's patience, her quiet encouragement, that saved her.
She actually saves people's lives from dangers.
And perhaps that's why these marginalized kids feel such a kinship with the orphans of Haiti, and why they were moved to act.
And so when Yolanda and Jackie and Patrick said, well, Miss B, we need to build them a school.
Build a school, no easy task. They started out raising money. They sold samosas, washed cars, screened movies, you name it. And in just a few months, this little class raised $20,000. So much, it's not just a one-room schoolhouse they can build, but a full 3-story school. And so Mrs. B set off on a journey she'd dreamed of, up into the dusty mountains above Port-au-Prince to a town called Canaan. It's home to thousands of earthquake refugees who live with no running water, no electricity, and no school, until now. The first step was a temporary school. It's up and running. 53 students already in uniform. The permanent school for 250 is growing from its foundations.
It makes me want to cry because she just makes me feel so awed, and I'm very proud of her.
All of this because of a handful of students back in Canada, and Mrs. B, the teacher who believed in them.
These are for you.
At another fundraiser, a special tribute to the students, accepted by someone who, without Mrs. B, might not be here.
They believe in me and I believe in them, and together we not only change our lives, but we change the world around us.
For inspiring great things and seeing the potential in everyone, Serena Buffalino is this week's Everyday Hero.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Time to Shine Happiness Show.
Yeah, welcome with the BBs.
How are you doing? How are you doing
I
today?
am doing wonderful, lady, because I'm here with you, and then we have our special guest coming on in a little while. So life is good.
Life is good. And I'm trying, I don't know if you can see it. I'm trying out a new, not identity, but a new thing, that, like I work with midlifer, people that, my age, midlifers, although I'm slightly past midlife, but, I'm still a baby boomer. So I'm just saying.
Yes,
But anyways, so because I am a baby boomer. I'm at the tail end, the beginning part of the baby boomers, but still a baby boomer. Anyways, so I am a midlife mentor. What do you think?
Midlife mentor. That's your new title?
That's kind of I'm trying it out as my title, because so often, so many of us, and this is where I was, come to midlife and realize that the life we're leading is not the one that we necessarily like, don't want to do it anymore. And sometimes, lots of times it, something triggers it. In my case, I lost my husband.
Yeah.
And that, it was just, I was thrown, the rug was just pulled out from under me. And then it was like, oh yeah,
what to do?
Now what?
Yeah.
And the thing is that I had no idea how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew what I didn't want. I think that was something, a positive step, that I didn't know. I knew what I didn't want, but I had no idea what I did want, and had no idea how to find it. So that's why I was thinking midlife mentor, because I can't be the only one in the world that has felt that way, that, oh brother, what am I doing, or what can I do when they've had something happen that has just, pulled the rug out. That's like you talk about finding your purpose, passion, and drive.
Yeah.
That's all part of it.
Yeah. We both, go down that same road with people. And I kind of, I know now that you say it a little bit more and more, it's kind of nice and catchy. I kind of like that.
So I'm trying it out. So I figured, what better way to try it out than on you?
Because you know what? I feel honored, because I really do.
I've been playing with transition mentor, but that doesn't quite, So anyways, but
you know what?
You
know what? I like that you're being unique, because a lot of times, because somebody told me this too, because I was, I'm still back and forth with certain titles myself.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times we say, well, I'm a transformational person. And that's like another, like all those same people, or I'm this type of
life coach.
Yeah. Or life coach or this. And I'm like, you know what, when you say a mid-time, like that's a whole different spin.
Midlife.
And then people be like, ooh, you catch their attention. Right. And that's good.
Yeah. So so I figured, why not try it out here? So
I like it.
Audience, if you have any comments, let us know.
We're trying out some new things for our titles, so please give us some feedback.
give us some, what? That's exactly it. Ask for feedback. I have to tell you, so many people, they spend weeks, months, years doing something, put it out there, and realize, ooh, this isn't working. If they had gotten feedback at the beginning, they would
maybe some of that those months would have get cut.
Yeah, because I don't want to put that out there if it's not going to resonate with people. And and that's part of knowing who you are, what you're doing, and what your purpose is, what your passion is, and that kind of stuff. But I do want to say one little thing of gratitude for small, and sometimes we just have to be grateful for small things. I live on a corner lot, have a corner room, and depending on which way that we go, and because I live out, I don't live in the city, so we get the wind and it blows. So depending on which way the wind is blowing, sometimes my corner where my little where I have my desk and my virtual background gets a little cold.
It was cool.
And sometimes I'm sitting there with like 5 blankets on.
Oh, my
Oh yeah, depending on which way the wind is blowing.
God.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like I'll have a blanket on the whole 9 yards. Well, the last week, one day, it was so bad I put my foot warmer on my knees. Yeah. Anyways, so I was telling a couple of friends of mine on Friday night, we went out for dinner, and he looked at me and he said, "Well, do you want one of those little ceramic heaters?" And I said, "What's a ceramic heater?"
Yeah.
He said, "It's a ceramic heater, Barb." And I'm like, you know, he has one of those sense of humors. And it was just, he said, let me. So Sunday, he shows up with this little ceramic heater. And I'm going to brag and I'm going to show it to you.
Oh, so he brought you.
This is the show and tell part of the show today.
Everything is since school.
Look
Oh
at it.
yeah, you know I had one of those. I took a dad had one for work. It was just
Oh.
like similar. Yeah,
It's just this little,
yeah.
oh, I'm in love with it. Oh, I called them up. And I said, I love you guys. I mean, I love you guys anyways, but now I really love you guys.
You're like, I really, really love you. I really, really love you.
I
now, 'cause this
cannot
is-
get over what a difference. I am sitting here, I
it's
cozy and comfy without 6 blankets on me.
You know, I forgot that it was called ceramic. Yeah, because I bought one of those for my
ceramic.
job and put it like under where my because when we were going in, but
I had never heard of them, and especially that small.
yeah, it's called and it's funny because they call it ceramic heater, and I never knew. Like you, I was like, what? And then when I went to the store and they said, yeah, these little, and I said, oh, that's so cute. And then I put under, and oh my God, bro, I'm like you, it felt so good.
It's just under my desk.
Yeah.
And because I have because I'm in a corner and I have a corner desk,
Yeah.
which just works perfectly for me.
Yeah.
But that one little corner sometimes got a little
cold. Yeah. And then that ceramic, this comes in and makes it nice and comfy.
It's nice and comfy. So that's what I am just so grateful. And he's just he's actually a Shriner.
Oh.
And they do so much for the shrines, for the Shriners. At the hospital, we have we do fundraisers, and I do some of his PR stuff for him, and put out press releases and that kind of stuff. But it is so cool, all the stuff that he does, that they do to help these children at the Shriners Children's Hospital.
Yeah, every time I see those commercials, I just
So it is such a good cause, and they have pancake breakfasts and all sorts of things, and it really is fun to be in the vicinity of people that are doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
because you know what, you are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with. He's one of the people. They are not he. They're a couple.
Okay.
I spend a lot of time with them.
Mm-hmm. And that's good because you said you're around like-minded. We're talking about like-minded people that it's like positive and making a difference. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, that's a good idea. We could do that for the shrine, and so just in my little efforts to get the knowledge word out there that the shrine is just such an amazing.
That's so nice that you're part of that. So that's a big effort, not a little effort, to do what you're doing. So commend you for that.
I'm part of it, and and the wonderful thing of it is that one of my grandkids has been part of that, has had surgeries done at the Shriners.
Oh.
Okay. And so they're close to our heart.
Yes.
And the doctors there the doctors and the nurses and the staff have just been absolutely amazing. And because it draws people like Pam and Chuck. Hi there. Pam and Chuck Slater out there. Thank you for my heater and for all you do at the Shriners.
Shout out.
Shout, yes, I thought, gee, I'm just going to shout them out. Yes, I'm going to, and we're going out for dinner. Well, I'm picking her up for church, and I'll tell her, I'll say, hey, you have to make sure you go listen to this episode because you're on it. And so, yeah, so it's fun. That's, I think one of the things, brings me happiness, which is what, I'm on a mission to make happiness the norm rather than the exception. Find something that you can do that will just bring you a little bit of happiness.
Yes.
Because when you can, and that's one of the things that I love about our guest coming on. She was on, she does things that on her post this morning, because I had it up. And so, of course, when I turned on my computer this morning, she was the first thing I saw. And she talked about growing. And you know what? And so when you grow yourself and you treat yourself better, and so then I wrote back to her, and it was like, yeah, when you treat yourself better, it transposes into the people around us, because we can give to the people around us out of our abundance and overflow of joy, and and that's what it's all about.
And I like how you brought that up. I can't wait till Sonia talks a little bit about that, because people can feel your energy, either be it positive or that energy from you, or negative. And when you, like you said, when you're growing and you're learning and you're around, people can feel that energy. So, in a long time ago, I was I didn't really understand that too. I'm going to be honest with you. Like years and years ago, I was like, well, I feel energy, whatever.
It's a learning process.
And I said, and then when I got angry and upset, I was feeling kind of whatever.
Right.
I could tell. It's funny because I could tell more when I was in a bad mood, in a negative mood, more so, about that energy. I was like, now I see what they're saying about that. Yeah.
Exactly. And one of the things, and I think we've talked about this before, but people say, well, what? And it's governed by your thoughts. And, and I think statistically, one time I looked it up, and I think I could be slightly off, but there's you think 36,000 thoughts a day.
Can you believe that? It's a lot of thoughts.
Your brain going. You're because what goes in, you don't know what's always going in, because you're not cognizant of it. But anyways, of those 36,000 thoughts, they said I think it's 85% of them are negative, are repetitive, and 95% of them are negative.
Isn't that sad? So that's why it's so important when people always talk about do your affirmations, keep telling yourself, because you got to fight off all those other negative thoughts that are coming in so much. Yeah. Wow.
Right. That negativity. And the thing, it's negative is an energy. So now you have the news, you have people arguing, you can just be walking down the street and see a couple having an argument. Well, guess what? You might not think so, but it impacts you. It really does, because energy is all around us.
Yeah.
Energy is all around us. And so, so that's like people say to me, oh, did you watch the news? Yeah, no. I do not watch the news. If something is so major, then I'll hear about it. Somebody will tell me and give me the Cliff Notes.
Agrees the Cliff Notes. That's the short notes of it.
I don't want to hear all of the backstory or the rhetoric, because you know what? There's two sides to every story.
Yeah. And one thing I had to do, you're talking about news real quickly. I had to finally cut off my notifications for the news that's coming out of Chicago, because I'm telling you, Barbara, this is true. Right. Like every 2 minutes, I would hear something about either, somebody, I hate to say, got killed or shot or something. It was carjacked, whatever. And I'm like, what is going on? It's like,
because that's all you hear about.
Yeah. And that would make you, if you're in a good mood and you see 10 things in an hour like that, your mood would go loud real quick, because you're like, what's happening with the world? And everybody went crazy.
Exactly. And that's what happens to people unless they have something to counteract it. And that's why affirmations and, like you always hear about, well, just think positive. Okay. Yeah. You can't just think positive, but You have the choice to think positive.
I like how you said that because people are so easy to quick to say that, right? Just think positive.
Just
And
think
I
positive. Yeah. But sometimes you have to choose to think positive.
think positive, yes.
It's
Because you could say you're thinking
choice.
positive, but you have to choose to. Now, talking about affirmations and choosing to think positive. So on my phone, I found an app that's called Daily Affirmations, right?
Oh yes, I think
You
I
have
have
it too?
something similar.
You have it too? And
I
it,
think
and every
maybe
day,
not that one, but it's something similar.
so like
And I
every 2 minutes, it gives me, two, three,
Yeah.
or four. So this one right now, just to read it off, it says, "I am worthy,"
Right.
and it says, "I release
Huge.
all past hurt, and I'm ready to be vulnerable in love again.
Yeah.
I am ready to celebrate a new life." So they give me 3 like every 15 minutes.
Yeah. And that is so important. What the affirmation that you just read.
Which one? I am
Let
ready to celebrate a new life.
go of the past.
Oh yeah. I release all past hurt, and I'm ready to be vulnerable in love again.
Let go of the past because you cannot move forward. It's like the analogy of a car. You can't go forward by pushing on the gas if you still have your foot on the brake. If you have your, like I used to drive a shift car, and if you would, you would have the emergency brake on, because Montreal, there's a mountain in the middle of Montreal. So everywhere you go, you have to go up and down the mountain. So you're sitting at a red light and you're on a mountain. So you have to know how to clutch and brake at the same time so that you don't roll backwards. And so it was like always, okay, you have to slowly let off the brake. Okay, sometimes that's what you have to do with your past. You can slowly let it off. I mean, you don't have to do it all at once, although I would suggest that. Just say, all right, I am never going to think about this again. But you have to take that every episode. How many episodes do you have in your life? I've got lots of episodes of my life. I have literally had to sit and, okay, Barbara, let it go. Yeah. What did you learn from it? Do you feel like do you feel like you have learned something from it? Mm-hmm. If you have, great. Yeah. If there's something that you have left unresolved from it, go and resolve it. I don't care how long it's been. Go and resolve it.
If you can, because I mean, if it's a person and they pass, you got to let it go out yourself and you move forward.
Right. But one of the things that I have my clients do, if that is the case, write them a letter.
I like that.
Write them a letter, pour out everything, because you have to get it out of your body.
Out of your system, yeah.
Pour out everything that you would never say to that person, but you thought of that person. Everything that you have ever thought about, the hurt, the pain, everything, the angst, whatever words that you want to put to it, write it all down. Do not read it. Don't read it.
Don't read it?
Don't read it, because you don't want it back. Now down on the paper. Don't read it. But then do something, either have a little ceremony. I don't care if you burn it, rip it up into 500 million pieces, doesn't matter. Bury it, get it out of your environment. So write it down. Don't read it. Huge. Do not read it. Because you don't care if there's spelling mistakes in there, if there's grammar in there, you don't care. One time I was so angry, it ripped the paper.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Now I couldn't tell you what I was angry about. I was furious.
You just rich.
You have to get it out of your body. Don't read it. I can't tell you that enough. Do not read it, because our immediate thing is, oh, I wonder what I wrote. Yeah, don't do it. Let it go, because this is a process to let it go.
It's almost like say, don't do drugs. Don't read the paper.
Don't read your paper. Put all the thoughts down. Everything that you would want to say that was negative, mean, nasty, everything. Put it all down. How you felt about it, how you felt, whatever it is that you felt, all of that. And then burn it, rip it up, have a little ceremony. It doesn't matter what you do, but you have to get rid of it out of your house, out of your environment.
I like, you know what? In fact, I like the burning up beside the rip it, because sometimes you rip and throw away, you might want to go back and get it and put it
You
together.
would save the pieces. Sometimes you would save the pieces.
Yeah, you'd be like, wait a minute, let me just see.
And then tape it back together again. No, because sometimes I have to admit, people want to hold on to the hurt.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think we all been there. I mean, we've
all been there. We have all been there.
Mm-hmm.
However, you can't move forward if you don't let go.
I always tell people, learn from it, like you just said earlier. Learn from it and move with it. Learn from it and move with it, but don't sit there and be like, well. It was funny. I was talking real quickly before we bring up our wonderful guest. I was talking to a speech coach the other day, and they were telling me about, because they work with people with their stories of their life, like, to bring it to their, bring to their presentations. So they were telling one of their clients that they were just talking about, a long time ago, because I think what happened was her dad left them early, basically, in her life. He wasn't in her life, right? So she just said, at the age of 9, my dad left. It was just me and my mother, and we went through this, and my mother had to go through, just the regular story she was telling them. Right. And then he said, okay, thank you for that story, but what did you learn from that, or what happened? What made you? Because right now you're a businesswoman, you're doing this and doing that. So you got to let people say, okay, you're telling that story about it, but then tell us this kind of, like he says, secret sauce on how you got to move from that hurt and pain. She's like, well, I just want people to know how much hurt that I had with my dad. And that's what
she's still living in it.
She just kept it. And he's like, okay, he's almost, and then because he's really straightforward. Yeah. And he finally told her, he said, they don't care. They really don't. They want to know how you got out of it, because if they're dealing with something, they want to know how to get out of it. They don't want to keep going to pity party with you right now. That's what they told. I said, ooh. Exactly.
Because what happens so often is that, and I'm sure Sonia's going to agree with this too, because she's also a coach, that people go back and they pick at the scab is starting to form, and they go back and pick at the scab.
Yep, like that. Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Let it heal. Yeah. Let it heal. Because then once it's healed, if you keep going back to it, you're picking at the scab. So she was obviously still picking at that scab from the time she was 9 years old.
Yeah.
What was it? How was it affecting her life today?
And he even told it got to a point, he said at the end that she had to take away that story and do another story, because he said basically she wasn't ready.
She wasn't ready to tell that story because she was still in the wound. The wound was still open. Mm-hmm. It hadn't closed yet.
Hasn't closed yet.
Yeah, huge.
Well, with that, we're gonna right after our sponsor, we're gonna bring on Miss Sonia and hear this wonderful guest and give us some good information about health and happiness and all that good stuff.
Yep.
So here we go. We are back with our guest.
Good morning. Good morning. Hi, Sonia.
Good morning. Good morning, ladies. How are you?
Hey.
I am excited for you to be here, because I know a few months ago you were supposed to be on, and I know things happen in life. And I said, no, she got to come back. We got to get her. Thank you.
I was so sick. I didn't even leave the bed for days, and that's not like me. I don't even like to be in the bedroom when I'm sick. I like to be on the couch. But that wasn't happening. Like I didn't have it. I don't even know what I had, because as far as I was concerned, it didn't matter. I wasn't seeing anybody. I was in bed. Why do I need to go and expose people to get a label? So
I love that. Thank you very much.
That's it. We said thank you very much. Well, I'm glad you're. I mean, you're looking beautiful, and I'm glad that you feel much better, and you're on the show. So that's
yes,
awesome.
yes. And I have to start by saying you guys are awesome. I love the vibe. I love the energy, and I just kind of feel as I was sitting here behind the stage that I was like hanging out with BFFs that I've never met before, but you kind of had touched on this, and there were so many different notes that I had not really notes, but it was like, yes, I'm like nodding my head behind stage. I'm like, yes, we are the sum of the 5 people we hang out with the most. And that's something to be mindful of, right? Because we have no idea where we're pulling our energy from. And so I'm not going to jump in because I can talk and I'm full of enthusiasm.
That's what we want.
We want.
Should I stand up and start dancing? Is that what we should?
I dance. I love to dance. There you go.
I joke sometimes how I have so much energy. Just ask my 2 ex-husbands that couldn't keep up with me.
Oh well, they missed out.
But you know what? That's part of the story. And the last story that you guys were just sharing, and I'm sorry if you get offended by the word guys. I've raised 3 children that were girls, and I call them guys all the time. It's just a term.
It's a term.
That's fine.
But the last story that you had mentioned about the lady that was still feeling the victim. She was still playing the victim. And as coaches, as leaders, as influencers, as those that are trying to help other people uplift and elevate their lives, they turn to us because we've made it to the other side of that mountain. Right. It's not like you can't share what happened, but like you said, what was the transformation that took part? And if you're still playing the victim mode in one area of your life, what other areas are you playing it in as well? So it's very true. We all have stories. I just laughed about my past. Well, of course it wasn't as easy as 2 ex-husbands, right? I can sit here and say the reality is I had to pick my life up twice with 3 young children underneath me and restart from scratch. But that's what made me who I am today.
Yes.
Right. It's those stories. It's pre-COVID, I had a fitness studio teaching 23 classes a week. A month after 5 years of building the stream, shut my doors. Okay. Because we're still in lockdown where we're at. Like we're back in lockdown here. So I had to shut my doors. Yeah. That could be where my story ends, but it's not. Like it's not at all. It was just a chapter in my story.
Exactly. Sonia, I'm so glad you said that. It's a chapter. I love that. I'm going to use that.
But I love what she said too. Well, what Barbara said too. And I love what you said that it's a choice. See, what you just mentioned is a choice to say, am I going to move from that to this point? Like you said, you had to close your doors because of the whole COVID thing. And I know everybody's been dealing with this, especially in the business. But you made a choice on, you said, you know what? I'm going to be creative and think of something else to do because I just can't sit there and be woe is me. So you made that choice.
Well, and I had a fantastic year last year. Like, I took a job. I was lucky to take a job and work full time as because you have to think about it. Teaching fitness classes, although I was certified as a life coach and a personal trainer and a healthy eating and weight loss coach. So I have all of these levels of education, layered learning that I apply to people depending on their needs. And that shows up in different platforms, from my podcast to my affirmations, to my daily lives, to the odd posts. Like it's all a combination. And my title, we were talking about titles, but remind me to come back. I'm just going to say sidebar for 1 second because, I do that. My title
Welcome
now.
To our world.
Yeah. You guys talked about titles at the very beginning, and midlife mentor, I actually like it because it stands out, because we can all be a life coach. Like if you've ever had a friend call you for advice, but how do you make it yours? How do you own it? So recently I've gone through a couple of ups and downs, and I consider myself, hear me out. You guys want to sit down for this one? You ready? I help my clients release the unwanted weight of debt, stress, and pounds.
Ooh, I like that.
I read that on your banner. I
like that a lot.
I am not, I consider myself a weight loss life coach. And this is a pretty new, but this fulfills my identity because I could personal train with somebody 3 days a week, and they can go home and emotionally eat because they're financially stressed. They're in a bad marriage. Exactly. You name it. They're the victim. Life sucks. Blech. That dark cloud is not leaving them. And they want to play poor, poor, pitiful me. But the fact of the matter is they come back to me and say, well, personal training is not working. Because let's get to the root of the problem. That's not the root of the problem. Yeah, energy is going to help you move more. It's going to fuel your body with enthusiasm and energy. But you're not going to do it if you can barely get out of bed. You're not going to, like, it's not going to work. So let's work on the root. So that's where I shifted a lot. But yeah, there's a little bit more. Oh, back to your story about the title. So I love the title. And then prior to that, about what was I going to say? Oh, this is what happens.
Oh, see, I'm glad to see I'm not the only one.
Oh no, sometimes I'm teaching a fitness class and I'm like, we go to repeat the moves. I'm like, guys, what were the moves we just did? I don't remember, because I'm like counting and I'm watching and I'm doing all of this.
Well, while you said, I wanted to mention something real quick, Sonia, just to hit on what you said about the root. Since I work, because with people, and I know Barbara does too, that, they're talking about, well, I got to do this and this. And then, I'm always thinking, the back of my mind already, I said, okay, that's a symptom. You're not hitting the pain, the real pain. We got to dig deep in the pain, and I tell people, even with your business, when you're promoting yourself and marketing yourself, you have to really understand people's struggles and challenges, because then then they'll know you're the right one for them and you're the right, vice versa. Because if you don't get to that emotional pain that they're dealing with, or challenge or whatever, then it's just going to be like you're just dealing with symptoms, and anybody can maybe put a Band-Aid on you. I mean, and
that's what most people do. Like, I do a lot of work with energies and emotions. I do a lot of chakra work where it starts with coaching people. So I have them start with a wellness quiz, which is on my link tree. It's completely free. I do a complimentary report and I get back to them with a one-on-one coaching call, but they don't even know the root of the problem. When I come back to them with suggestions, they're like, wow, like it's a major eye opener because it's so deep inside. That's one of the ways I work with people. I'm also going through to get my certifications on becoming a life insurance agent. So I can help, especially women, plan and prepare for the future in the now, so they're not living paycheck to paycheck.
Yes. Women are not taught. I'll have to put you in touch with a friend of mine, because that's one of the things that she does, financial literacy for women.
Yeah, and it's amazing, isn't it? And this is where that post that you read this morning was all about growth. Yeah, last year I read 26 books. I geeked out a little bit, right? And this is where I was going to go back to about bouncing back. I closed the studio. I took a job. Right. But it wasn't the end of my business. It complemented what I did last year. I wrote an international bestseller book, that one.
Yeah.
It's called, I actually framed.
I said, show it.
Your Story Matters. It's a self-love, self-awareness workbook for women.
Oh, I like that.
It's on Amazon. It's on my link tree. So I wrote this one, and I wrote 3 chapters in 3 different workbooks. While working full-time, while dealing with clients, while being there for my grandson and my aging parents. It's not a matter of, it's like truly, what are you capable of? Yeah, because this is supposed to be a hardship in this world. What do you do with it? Is it an opportunity that you're seizing, or is it a pity party?
You're speaking about language. Okay, now wait a minute. I want to do a little quick commercial. Not our sponsor commercial, but my commercial. Did you say grandchild?
Yes, I did.
I'm like 20 years old or something.
You know what? I know. And sometimes I don't mean I know in a bad way, but yes, I know. I have. Oh my
God, you're so good. You're so young.
I'll be 48 this year.
Oh yeah, you're a baby.
I am. Like,
both of you are babies. I mean, I could be your mother.
My mom, bless her soul, has the energy that I have, and she is going to be 76 this year.
Yeah.
So
because Barbara,
70s is the new 50.
Exactly. We keep saying that, yeah.
And that's why I'm a baby.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
When you said a grandchild, I'm like, I can see that a little higher in a teenager or whatever, but oh my God.
And it's interesting, right? Because it always surprises people. But when you figure it out, when you hear me talk about the kids or it's like, okay, she is talking from experience. She's not just books. Right. She's not just reading the books or collecting the information. She's lived this life.
Yeah, exactly.
I am my avatar, and just like you guys are your avatar, but of that blended family of the division between work and your job and your business and your passion and your responsibilities and the amount of hats we wear. Like there's about 10 different hats. So today I go live every single day on social media. I go live on Facebook and then I transfer those posts on the other platforms. And today's Transformation Tuesday. So I talked about, you're going to like this. I talked about my word of the day. On Transformation Tuesdays, most of my posts are never physical transformations. Because I truly believe transformation starts from the mindset.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. So today is one word or statement that would make a difference from yesterday. And I have a couple of projects I want to get done today, including my next book that I had sent to the editor and they sent it back for me to work on. So it's just a matter of putting things in order in a different format. So I have a couple, and then I want to work on some more of my certifications. So there's a few loose ends I want to work on this week. But my word was a middle way, a middle ground, not aiming for perfection, accepting that my best today is good enough. And it's not an all or nothing mindset.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we walk into life forgetting every single day how many different hats we're wearing.
Yes.
Yep.
Right? Yep. We like client, entrepreneur, mom, stepmom, daughter, sister, friend, grandma, like you name it. The list goes, I counted, there's at least 10 different hats. Well, if that means I can't work on my life insurance, if that means I can't work on getting my book out, what else did I do that I'm proud of?
Right. Thank you.
You have to say that, else you're going to beat yourself up. If you don't do that, you'll beat yourself up, because I've been there where I know I was supposed to be working on, like you said, book and this and workbook and my class, and I'm supposed to do all this stuff. And then the day passed by, I didn't hit any of those, and I'm doing something totally different, So yeah, you have to do that.
Yeah. And so every day is a different conversation. Yesterday was Motivational Monday, and then Wellness Wednesday, Thankful Thursday. And then on Fridays, I talk about, it's your check-in Friday, but this year I'm talking about my 4 key pillars where I help people: meals, movement, mindset, and your relationship with money.
Yes.
Because all of these factors have an impact on the way we live our life. Are we in scarcity? And again, if we're in scarcity, how many areas of our life does that impact?
Yeah.
Right? Is our relationship with money, or do we avoid it? Like, where does it fall? So there's a little bit about me and what I do. Oh, one more thing. Sorry, one more thing.
Oh, right.
Just before I forget, there's more we can talk about.
These are nuggets. These are nuggets.
Yeah, these are good.
And you know what? And all things that I totally resonate with, because these are the things that we talk about. This is
and that's
I talk about. This is what I talk about with my clients, because
it all comes together.
It comes together. And you guys had mentioned earlier, like we got those same thoughts in our minds, and whether they're repetitive thoughts or they're negative thoughts, and then we're trying to make room for those new thoughts. And the best way to make room for those new thoughts is to journal. And you touched on this.
Yeah.
And even if it's
write it down.
Try it, but if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't have, like, I journal now 5 minutes before we start date night at night. So we have a date night, my husband and I, and we sit on the couch every night and watch a TV show. Tea and treat, 9:30. But if I can be on the couch at 9:25, I am brain dumping before I go to bed, which means I'm waking up with nothing negative. So my point is, it might not work for you in the traditional sense.
Right.
It took me a while to get to the fact of journaling, trying it at night. I've heard many women with young kids, they just lock themselves in the bathroom for 5 minutes. Right? So you had touched on this, and it's super important to download what's in here. And I did an episode on this in my podcast, in my second or third episode, but how important it is and how it's very similar to going to an all-you-can-eat buffet. But I'm not going to spoil it for you. I can fill you guys in later, but it is the layered effect, the layered learning of what we're talking about. So we all just admitted that we do similar things, but yet we're also vastly different.
Yes.
So when you're getting information like that and you're relearning, like layered learning, as I had mentioned, it is reinforcing the direction that you want to go if you hear that same message over and over again.
Yes.
Because we all say it's slightly different. That's why one of my things is that if you, I mean, there's 7 billion people on the planet, and you don't know what you don't know until somebody else tells you something that you don't know.
Absolutely.
That's where the voices come in, because what resonates with one person might resonate with somebody else, but it might not. That's why if you have lived through something, or if you've thought something, and you are on the other side of it, that's why it's so important for you to get your message out there, because there is somebody that is just starting the journey through what you've already been through.
So that's very fitting. Oh, sorry, you go first. You go
Real quick,
first.
I'll throw it in real quick. So repetition is the father of learning. Well, father, I say father and mother of learning, because when you hear different ways, the same thing, but different ways, it starts to get into your system. You start, saying to yourself, okay, now I'm getting this. I mean, I went to listened to 3 different workshops with 3 different coaches. They were saying the same thing about how to do your business, do the fun, that whole funnel thing. You start with the freebie, you do, all that. Now I've been hearing that forever, right? But it seemed like certain people say it a different way. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, okay, I heard this many times, but now they spun it a little bit different.
All of a sudden it lands. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that finally landed.
Yep. It's like, poop, there it is.
And you will continue to hear that same message until you do something about it.
Yeah.
You will continue to attract those same people in your life that you're meant to learn from.
Yep.
So for those people that are listening to this and haven't had luck dating or haven't had luck with jobs, or they feel like they haven't had luck, there's a lesson in there that you haven't learned yet.
That's good. So
Okay, so I wanted to say, and this is again another follow-up. So I was sitting here so quietly behind the scenes because I couldn't say anything, but the think positive, the affirmations, the mindset work. So every single day, and I put this up on 3 of my platforms, my free private Facebook group, it's called Celebrate Everything. I put this up on my LinkedIn profile and my Instagram profile, but every single day, Monday to Friday, again, I do a post called Think Positive.
Right.
Okay. And I actually, what I do to get to that is I pull 3 different decks. Today I did three decks. One of them is an essential oil deck. And then the other 2 are just decks to see what comes up, really, but they normally affirm one another. So then I put the essential oil that I use or that came up, or if I don't have, like what resonates with the post, and then I create this post. But I use the opportunity to reflect. So it's my way of doing a daily reflection on top of the affirmations and the gratitudes I do. Right. And this is the practice that we need in order to grow, right? So today's affirmation, and you ladies are going to jump out of your seat when you hear this one, because it's posted and you're going to love it. I make valuable contributions at the same time that I stand by my decisions.
Oh, love it. Ooh. Isn't that the truth?
Isn't that great? Yes. And there's another one. I lived a balanced, centered life. As I care for myself, the universe cares for me.
Right. Exactly.
That's good.
Yes.
Huge.
Yes.
That's yeah.
So I thought it was very.
When you said Barbara was like, yeah. I see it.
Sometimes you have to take it in and just really let it. I always call it let it land on you.
Yeah.
Let it land.
And
then all of a sudden there'll be that. Oh, right.
So letting it land is a great segue to what we've never been taught. So in the education system, we go to school, right? And then while we're at school, just to even stop here, we were always given the impression, if we are not called upon, if we don't know the answer, then we were meant to feel that we weren't good enough. Label it what you will. You weren't smart enough. You weren't ready. You weren't prepared. You weren't good enough. You don't know the answer. You didn't do the work. However, especially with life coaching and in real life, and I like to share this with my clients, when it comes to things like affirmations, when it comes to answers or working with a coach or even having a conversation, we don't expect you to know the answers, because if you knew the answers, you wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
If you wanted to reflect and learn something different, which you want to do, you want to be able to evolve and grow, let yourself to let those answers land and see what comes up. And don't be prepared to have the answers at all. And this is where the reflections come into play. This is where the growth happens.
I like that. And like you said, we weren't taught that. I mean, when you think of, because I was just talking about when you said going back to school, I was thinking about all the And sometimes I would feel, especially they seem like the teacher would pick on certain individuals to answer the same thing. And I'm like, okay, they've been doing this 5 or 6 times. You need to hit on other students besides them, because they had their favorite 5 or whatever. That's what I felt like. And then I feel like I was, like you said, Sonia, I was like, well, maybe I'm the stupid one.
but those limiting beliefs,
right?
For instance, beside the ripple effect is the word I'm looking for, that has happened in our lives, because, and I'm not blaming the school or the education system. They're not teaching the right things. Let's be honest. Yeah. Nobody teaches you what it's like, right? They're not teaching you the right things.
Yeah.
You can learn math and English and French and whatever you want to learn. It doesn't matter. I'm in Canada too. So, French, I do speak French as well. And it doesn't matter what it is you're learning, but nobody teaches you even what it's like to get out into the real world. I remember my oldest, she was 18. She graduated high school and she was working just at a dollar store. All of her activities, extracurriculars are done. She goes, Mom, she goes, is this all there is to life is work? I'm like, yep. So stick with your hobbies, do what you love. Because there's no preparation for, really, you go from that segue to, wow. And nobody prepares you for that.
I like how you gave a reality check. You were like, yep.
Yeah, that's it. And it's so funny that we're talking about this, because yesterday I was talking to one of a friend of mine, and she's a teacher. And she said, she's out of teaching now, because she just got to the point where she's now she's helping people to learn. And she said, it just makes me crazy that these kids, they're given an education, but they don't know how to learn.
No, they're taught to memorize.
They're taught to memorize.
Yeah, they're taught to memorize and to make the teachers look good.
Yeah.
And it was like,
really,
yeah, because then their scores are higher in the classroom, right? For passing the tests and this and that. So it makes no offense, one of my ex-husbands was a teacher. And
I love the way you say that, one of my ex-husbands.
Whatever. It's part of my story. Actually,
I have an ex-husband. Yes.
I have to tell you how our personal lives segue into our business lives. I was on a conversation with someone the other day, and she's like, well, how have you ever been around somebody that doesn't really, get your vibe, or you guys don't agree? I'm like, well, let me share something with you. I said, don't laugh at my analogy here. And I'm not going to go into detail, but my first ex-husband was a narcissist. And my second one suffered from suicidal thoughts and bipolar for 6 years. So if I didn't learn to adapt, we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here today.
Right.
But you got to learn, and then you got to go back and think about, and anybody that's listening to this, I might be touching on it and making it seem light. It's not light in the moment. I grew from the experiences.
Right.
You are going to have that heaviness of that dark cloud on top of you, and that cloud might last years.
Yeah.
But just know that with the right work and with the right people, that cloud will pass sooner. It will pass. It'll absolutely pass. And I don't mean to make light of it. And I'm just letting people know how I can relate, and how not only being in those situations,
but you moved away from it because you knew that was something threatening for your life and your children. Right. So you had to say, hey, I got to do something here. Yeah.
But exactly. It takes time and growth and evolution, but there's nothing wrong with doing what you need to do to be in survival mode.
Yes.
Right.
And that's the key. Yeah, you learn to tiptoe, fine. Not a good quality. You learn to be a people pleaser, fine. Yes. Not a bad quality either. But when I can identify, I did this in terms of survival. Yeah. This is how I survived. This isn't a bad quality. This was what I pulled out of me, and this is how I learned.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
So, again, valuable information about the self-judgment, because there doesn't need to be self-judgment. We don't need that weight and that heaviness attached to us with everything that we do. And moms own, especially moms that have been separated or divorced, we own more than we should. Yeah. We're trying to make up for the incompetences or the lack that came from the other side. And I still do this. We had a conversation the other day. Like, we're not married. I call my husband, we're not married, but he's like, you don't own their problems right now. And I'm like, oh, like, it's hard to get past when it's all you've done.
Yes.
But awareness is the first step. With awareness, once you start with awareness, you can move into acceptance, then we can make some changes.
Yes. Oh, I love what you said about, you do not own their anymore. And that's a heavy on you. Well, I'm saying this because of my own experience. I'm going through that because I'm going through a divorce right now. 22 years in a relationship, and now I gotta, move forward. Like you said, it's survival mode right now.
Yep.
And I feel like I carry the heavy from his heaviness of what he's dealing with because I'm in it. And somebody told me just a few days ago, they said, Barbara, once you get that piece of paper, basically making it official, you are going to feel so much lighter. Even though you feel light now, maybe, or you're just like, oh, I'm moving on, I'm doing my stuff. They said, no, you're going to actually feel it because you are carrying that load, even though you don't realize it.
And when there's kids and other parties involved, you might want to think about what that relationship is going to look like. But like right now, there is absolutely no contact with either one of my exes, but my youngest daughter is 20. Right? Like I'm going to.
I'm just looking at you so young, but go ahead.
Yeah, she's 20. And so there's no need for me to really connect or to communicate. I'm sure if something major happened, and it's not like this wasn't my choice, this is how it's evolved. And yeah, it's disappointing. You used to spend 14 years with somebody and to never speak to them again. That's not why you signed up, and that leads to another segue. And that's like, you're talking about being divorced after 22 years.
Yeah.
There are many people that become empty nesters in their 40s.
Yep.
And they're single. It's not what they expected. It's not what they signed up for. It wasn't what was promised to them. Because remember, as females, we were read Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty. This was ingrained.
Someone set us up.
They did.
Exactly.
But they're not teaching anywhere unless you decide that you want to work with a coach and there's no label and it's like a therapist or whatever you want to call it, and the right one. But again, how are you going to get through those days and understand that this transition looks different? And guys, if you're listening to this, don't think it's not going to happen to you. It might not be a divorce or a separation. It might be a death.
Yeah.
We've seen this again and people that are a little bit older, maybe in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and the partner dies.
Yep.
And the other person has
Barbara. That was Barbara.
I didn't expect to be a widow at 60.
No.
Right. And then you have and you might be a little bit better off than most. But so many people had no clue how to move on,
right?
How to do their finances, how to even log into their bank. Like they know nothing because they've been so codependent, which is amazing. But who are you really? And that's what you're discovering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I always ask myself,
who are you?
Barbara work with, yeah. And I always, I ask myself because I don't know. I feel like I'm doing this little research project on the side about relationships and couples and men and women. Because I hear men say, well, women, they talk too much. They go around the bush and they don't say what they have to say. And then on the women's side, well, men, they don't understand us. They need to listen. So, I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is kind of interesting. I want to do a little project. So I'm asking men and women, if you've been in a relationship for over, like I said, my relationship, now 20 something years, and all of a sudden, boom, you hear, okay, they're separating. There's no more. And stuff. And a lot of people are like, wow, they were together so long. And that's so sad that they're, separating. But they don't know, like you said, the inside of the whole thing. Like, yeah, they've been dealing with this, whatever was going in their relationship for so long. And they maybe thought they can fix it. Things happen. Like you said, you're tiptoeing, you're doing this kind of stuff. And then one day you're just like, I'm done. I can't do this no more. I got to be happy for me. This is survivable right now. I don't want to live the rest of my life like this. So what? People have been married for 30, 20 years, and now all of a sudden, they say that they gotta move on.
Well, that's with me in my case. When I got my first husband, we got divorced, and so I have an ex-husband. And when the kids moved out, I realized that the only thing we had in common was the kids.
Well, and that's the thing, right? When we grow, like the three of us are all about growth.
We're all about growth. So
if your partner's not growing, and yeah, it's huge. I mean, there can even be communication problems. Like we had a conversation last night about something and it was a conversation, and not that I didn't get the answers I was expecting. That had nothing really to do with it. I'm a very emotional person and I'm well aware of that. And after living together for 4 years, he is well aware of that too. So
that's
right. So the point is, it wasn't what was said. It was, if I'm coming to my partner looking for a conversation that's going to benefit the both of us, I really don't want to hear, do you? Right? I want to hear that we're growing as a couple.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't what was said. It was, for me, the big picture.
Yeah.
The whole communication piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can only learn from this, right? I'm like, okay, you know, I realizing that maybe speaking to a girlfriend would have helped me banter it a little bit better. And knowing, yeah, his comment means he's very, very supportive. Doesn't matter what I do. But that's not what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear, yeah, you know, we'll do this together. Like, I was going to him as a, let's grow together and make this decision together, where I felt, right or wrong, and we haven't had a follow-up because, you know, I don't want to, I saw a post today, and I'm going to share this with you in a second. But the thing is, he's very supportive where I could do what I want. It doesn't matter what I do, where I kind of wanted the unison of what I would have gotten in a marriage of, let's make this decision together. Let's grow together. What are the next steps that we're going to do? How is this going to help us with our future plans? Now, maybe I didn't deliver that context, right? And that's okay.
Right.
You know, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Right. And I can learn from that. And, but yeah, I journaled a lot last night. I'm just saying. But here's a good point. Because of the way life has, so for those that are listening and don't know us very well, we've got 3 different dynamic women here. And I know I'm new to today's episode, but we've got somebody that's been divorced twice, that's in a blended relationship, somebody that's been married before in a divorcee, and somebody else that's still living, well, you're going through divorce now, you said, right? But after 22 years.
Yes.
So 3 different women, 3 different ages, 3 different stages, 3 different experiences.
This is
How amazing is that? And some people can listen to this and be like, what? You know, no, you have no idea, guys. We are full of so much information. You could grab any one of us that you relate to and reach out, because we can walk you through whatever you're going through.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Here's the post. You guys are going to like this. My silence doesn't mean I'm ignoring you. I just love you so much that I hate fighting with you.
Oh,
I like that.
Oh, I got to get that. So you got to put that in the messenger that we've been talking through.
I will. It was fitting. It was fitting because I could go on, or I could simmer down a little bit and just be like, okay, sit with my thoughts, because there's nothing wrong with either. Honestly, there was nothing wrong with either approach. But when you're oversensitive, and I know that, there's no point adding fuel to the fire. I'm just a passionate person. And we talk about, like, when we're passionate in one area, like, again, we are what we are in multiple areas of our life. So if I'm passionate, you bet your bottom dollar I'm passionate in everything I do. I can't simmer this quality down. And if somebody asks me to, it won't work for long. Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah.
As we're talking, as we're growing, as we're inspiring, one more thing that I had to keep my mouth quiet behind the scenes was we talked about experiences and looking back, right? And holding on to the past.
Yeah.
So an analogy I like to share with people, and I just think it's fitting because it's kind of bringing this all full circle, and it's just my 2 cents. But if you think about the size of your rear view mirror,
right,
it is a fraction of the size of your windshield. We are meant to look forward and to only look back to see how far we've come.
Yes. Exactly.
And then learn that somebody's behind you and they might hit you. So that's why you're looking back.
Yes.
But once everything's good, you just keep moving.
Keep moving. And that's it, guys. I don't know what else you want me to talk about, but I can talk about anything.
Well, you can tell how people can contact you.
Okay. I have my link tree, and I don't know, maybe where should I put it?
Can you put it in the private chat and then I can show it real quick to everybody?
Yeah, sure thing. Let me just
this
get it. If I spell it right, because sometimes with excitement doesn't come clear spelling, or put my glasses on.
This has been wonderful.
Yeah, that's me. Put my glasses on.
Robert, we gotta bring Sonia back. She gotta come back. She gotta come back.
There you go, lovelies. You guys are so awesome. I was just enjoying listening to you banter and chat, and I felt so synchronized.
Yeah. That is awesome. Yeah, we've been doing this almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in June.
Can you believe it? I still just can't believe it. It's been 2 years.
Isn't it wonderful?
Wow. So
and again, I want to just say, like, for those that are listening, it's super cool because look at our backgrounds. Like, listen to our personalities as we're talking about, look at our backgrounds. I personally bring people in, and I love to do this, into my home office. This is my home office. This is a space where I'm creative, where I get to live and be. And you've got a beautiful background with the colors, and you show your flowers. And I just, again, our personalities are shining through in so many different ways. The world needs your light, ladies.
Yep.
Well, the world definitely needs your light and going to continue to get your light, Sonia, because you're just amazing to me. And we got to bring you back. I mean, I have a show, my own show too, on Friday. So we're going to talk. It's called The Coaches Lounge with Barbara Beckley. So I would love to bring you. And then, Barbara, I got to bring you on too. Just because we do our show on Tuesdays, I need to do there.
And we'll have to have Sonia come on the panel.
Oh, yes. Panel. We have a panel the first Thursday of every month. We have a women's panel. We come on live. It's like maybe 5-6 of us, and we just talk about different subjects.
We talk about stuff, and we laugh.
And we laugh. And we talk about I have a hot flash.
And we go down rabbit holes.
Hot flashes. I got some natural cures for that. What I loved about today is we didn't talk about weights. We didn't talk about movement. We didn't and that's the biggest takeaway. If anybody's listening to this that's new, it's completely irrelevant what shape or size you are. You can be happy when you let yourself be happy. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not based on a number or somebody else's opinion.
And that's so true. And just to add to what you're saying, Sonia, because I hear a lot of women plus myself say this, is that with whatever size you are, people talk about obesity and and I get that health wise, but you still have to love yourself in what you're in right now, because if you don't beat yourself up for it, then it's going to be even harder for you to just get to wherever you're trying to go, because now you just hate yourself. You don't like what you look like. All that goes on. And that doesn't give you energy to say, you know what, maybe I'll slowly, get into some water, slowly eat maybe a salad here or there. You can slowly do it. But if you're beating yourself up, it's like you don't start anywhere, because you're looking at yourself like, I hate myself. I hate what I look like.
Well, and let's go back to the awareness piece. It doesn't matter what it is. Once you can become aware that, yes, you're beautiful. If you can look at yourself and be like, yes, I'm beautiful. And yes, I've had 3 kids biologically. And yes, I've had some stresses. And yes, I've had to endure some things. And yes, I couldn't walk for 2 years because of my ankle injuries. And I can't run and do what I love. But yeah, of course I emotionally ate. But yes, I love myself. My awareness is I'm beautiful on the inside, and I let it show on the outside. And I don't care who you are, start there. Yeah. And that's going to impact everything else that you do, because you're going to get confidence in who you are.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. And don't let other people
add to that.
Oh, add to it, Barbara.
Nope. The only thing that you just said, when you said start there, and the key word for me is, yes, you have to start there, but the key word is just start.
Yes.
Start.
Yes.
Start.
My podcast episode yesterday was called Start, do it now, start today.
Yeah. Start.
Because it just so happens yesterday was Monday, but I talked about how I just did a workshop. I just came off the spin of a workshop, and the workshop ended on on a Saturday, and most people want to wait till Monday to start things, whatever it is. Right. Yeah. But no, you're procrastinating, and you're really not valuing your intentions, and your integrity is immediately being thrown out the window. For those that aren't familiar, integrity are the promises you make to yourself, not to others. So what are you not fulfilling in your life to help you glow and grow?
See, okay. I just want to stay with Sonia for a while, but I know we have to. We do have to end the show. I know we got to end the show, but this is so good stuff. But Sonia, we got to bring you back on. You got to come on my show. Barbara's probably going to have you on her show. We got a lot of shows.
Yeah, your schedule.
You just don't know. So with that, Barbara, Sonia, you just been a blessing to me today, and thank you so much for coming.
Which is why we do the show.
Yeah. Well, you guys are amazing, and I can't thank you enough for the opportunity to just pop on and share my voice. And I joke that I'm the best kept secret, because one day everybody's going to discover who I am, and it's not who I am. I'm just me. And for those, again, that are popping in, none of this is scripted, honestly. And this is the best part. When I'm even interviewing people for my podcast, which these ladies will be on one day, they're like, well, what should we talk about? I'm like, I can't. That's not. I want you real and authentic, and I want you to just go with the flow. And if you're not comfortable, we won't do the video component. We'll just do the audio component. But the authenticness, the realness, you know, being transparent. This is what people need to see. We can see fake anywhere. We can listen to the news. I don't listen to the news either.
So with that, lady, I just want to say again, thank you for coming on the show, Time to Shine, Happiness Show. And then also, like I said, we will be talking because you'll be coming back. We want you back. Barbara, anything that's coming up with you real quickly before we sign off?
Just had our product launched, new collagen product. Oh, it is amazing. I sent you the collagen. And one of the things that the only thing I'll share about it is I knew, collagen is for wrinkles. What collagen actually does, it's like if you see the form of a house and you see the 2x4s, you know that that's a house. Well, collagen is the 2x4s of our body. If we're missing, and we start losing it at 25. I have a lot of ground to make up.
Well, I do too.
You look great. You look great.
But you look great, Barbara. 70, please.
I'm 71. Yep.
Every time you say that, I'm going to have a heart attack. Every time you say that. It's like, wow, she look good.
I know we got to go. I understand that. But and I want to touch on this. The job that I worked for when I was working, I was calling people that couldn't hear me. So I was helping people hear better. I was trying to book hearing aid appointments for people, okay? I'm not going to say the company name or anything like that, but you can imagine the people that I'm calling were frustrated that they couldn't hear me over the phone for the majority, or there's different ailments to that. And I'm not going to get into that. However, the point is, you would not believe the amount of conversations of people much younger or even within our range that aren't doing any of this. They're not living their life. They're not happy. They're already checked out. Right. And for me, that didn't work. Like, I did my best to get through it, but emotionally I carried that and I picked up on it because they weren't living their life, COVID or no COVID. And I know we're not talking really about that. That's not the point. The point is there was very few people I spoke with that had this level of energy that were still out every day trying to inspire and live their best lives.
Wow.
Yes.
See?
So be proud of who you are and what you're doing, because it's amazing to see.
Well, ladies, thank you so much. We'll be back next Tuesday. Barbara, I think this is going to be you and I next Tuesday, right?
It's you and I next week. Yeah.
Another wonderful conversation with the beauties.
And I've already got some things that we want to talk about. Is just why it is a good thing to have a purpose.
Oh, see that you're talking my lane, lady.
You're talking my language. Did I ever share with you?
Oh, you got the purpose thing too. Well, you know what? Sonia, I was going to ask you tonight, Barbara. We have our
we got to
talk
clubhouse.
About the clubhouse.
Yeah.
So every Tuesday night at 8:30 Central Time, we come into Clubhouse under the Elephant Strategy Club, and we have conversations about topics something like this. So, Sonia, if you're available tonight,
would you mind? Will one of you send me the deets, and then I will go ahead and double check, because I normally nighttime's primary for clients, but I know I got some messages I haven't checked yet. And it's actually Hudson Day today. So Mondays and Tuesdays right now, I take care of him. So Mom and Dad will be dropping him off shortly. Okay. So I get to spend my day with my grandson.
Oh, but if you're available, it's every Tuesday, 8:30 Central Time, and we'll be happy to have people come up and talk.
But you're going to love my story.
Oh, see, yeah. Hopefully,
this is just the touch. This is the touch. Every single day, I'm not even going to tell you, but every single day, I talk about a coffee cup of the day. And that leads to my purpose.
Oh, yeah. That's something we can do in Clubhouse. Yeah.
So are you curious now?
Yes. Yeah, see, I hate when people do that. That's why I don't do that.
Stay tuned. I used to say that people. I used to say that people hang out with me for the entertainment value.
Exactly.
That's
why this is called the Happiness Show. And why we're doing so well.
Yeah, we want to keep, like we always say, we want happiness. And I always say this because I love what Barbara's trying to do. Her mission in life is, to make happiness the norm and not the, what do you say, Barbara?
Make the norm rather than the exception. Yes. So many people that's like, what do you mean be happy? They don't even know that they can be happy.
It's not a part of their equation, and then that's a sad conversation. It's just not a thought. It's almost like they feel Oh, I could start. I got.
Yeah, I better cut it short now because we'll get to the conversation. So thank you, ladies. Love you, everybody.
Come on again.
Bye, ladies. You
Bye,
guys are
everybody.
awesome.
Great week.
Bye.
I'm hanging on your every word. The love inside, I feel it burn. I've never felt this way before. I've had a taste.